I made a video several months ago showing how to make a mini house block. In this video, I'll show how I made a quilt using many of those blocks. Here I have laid out all of the blocks on a bed to see how I want to lay them out and how they all go together. I've also cut out some white and blue blocks to go in between the houses. Right here, I am sewing the blocks together. Once I sewed all of the blocks together into strips horizontally, then I started sewing the strips together to create the quilt top. Here, I'm finishing up sewing the rows together, and once I sew a row onto the top, I lay it out on a bed so that I can see how it looks and what I need to do to complete it. I didn't film all the measuring and the cutting I did just because I've got a limited amount of time and I'm trying to get this project done in a couple of days. I just sewed 2 pieces of this blue together, and this is going to be the top part of the quilt with the sky above the houses. And I don't normally, I made a larger seam than normal because I had forgotten to cut the selvage off. So you'll remember to cut the selvage off, and then you can just do a 1/4 inch. I used these scissors to cut some ribbon that had wire in it for my Christmas tree, and I think that probably wasn't a good idea. I'm not sure how wide I'm going to use this, but I knew it was going to be wider than, that the quilt is going to be wider than the width of this fabric, so I put 2 pieces of fabric together. I am sewing 2 pieces of fabric together for the backing of this lap quilt, since one width was not wide enough. I cut 2.5-inch strips out of the same fabric as I made the backing for the quilt, and this will be for the binding. So I'm sewing that together right now. I have 4 long strips and I'm hoping that'll be enough. I think it will, but I didn't measure or anything because I just don't. So you take one strip and then you crisscross the other strip against it, and then I will be sewing from this corner to this corner, straight line. And I messed up a little bit. I didn't go directly to the corner, and so it makes it off a little bit. So I'm just gonna sew over it. On the other 3 that I didn't show you, I did them perfect. So you open it up and you've got a diagonal seam there. So you just cut, and I know I've showed this before, you just cut the excess material and thread off. So I'm gonna go iron these seams flat on the back, and then I'm also gonna I am also going to fold the binding in half and iron it like that, and then it will be all ready to go when I come to that step in the quilt. And I'm also going to iron the backing right now too. And then the next step will be to sandwich the quilt together with the backing, the batting, and the top. Here's the first layer of the quilt sandwich taped down to the floor, and then I'm going to measure and see how much I need to cut off. So here it is, it's put together. I don't have any tape on the top part of it, but it's ready to pin, and so that's what I'm going to do now. after I did the machine quilting, I then trimmed off the edges with my rotary cutter so that they were all even. Here, I'm adding the binding to the quilt by using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Okay, I've added the binding to this, and now I am going to close it off and sew from this corner to that corner and hope it comes out right. It should come out like that. Right. And then that will fold over like that, and then I can sew it the rest of the way. So what I did was I overlapped these two. When I was measuring it, I overlapped these two end pieces the same amount of inches as is the width. And that's how you figure it out. So I'm going to go ahead and sew this, and hopefully it will work out being flush. It's a little awkward with all of the fabric and limited amount on the binding, but okay, the moment of truth. Okay, it's a little bit off. And I don't know why. Oh, I do know why. You see that? It didn't go to the corner. I'm gonna fix that. Oops. That I can't fix. Okay, this isn't turning out to be a good video for selling the virtues of doing your own binding, but it's okay if you get confused. You just pick it out. Okay, so now I understand why in the sewing tutorials they say to add a little bit extra, because then you know, if you do it like this, then you know where the corner is on the back. But I thought I was going to be more efficient by doing it flush. offer any extra. At least I don't think so. Anyway, I'll get there. So what I'm going to do is put a pin where that corner is. Serious? How did I do that again? Okay, I'm usually not this thick when it comes to this. Woohoo! And that is perfect. Only took 3 times. So I'm just going to trim this. And you can press it with an iron if you want, but I'm not going to. And just for this short distance, I'm not going to change it out into the walking foot. I've just got my regular foot on. Okay, so see this? This right here is where it was. So, and I'll get rid of all these little stray threads. So, I'll pull that over like that. And you can pin it. And what I'll do is, this is something I can be doing at night when I'm watching TV with a husband. And just hand sew this binding down. I wanted to, I could machine stitch that. And there's no shame in doing that. For me, I think it looks better to do it this way, to hand sew it. Because what I would do, I've got a different width on the back as I do on the front. So if I stitch it, my sewing would show on the front. Or if I did it on the front, then I would have this big ruffle thing. So, I mean, if you wanted to plan on machine stitching it, then what I would do is then take a bigger stitch here and then do it on the front. Well, I guess you could do it and then do it on the back, but then the stitching would show up on the binding and not your quilt. I like hand sewing, so it's not a big deal for me to do this. Okay, I just need to hand sew this, and I have decided to I don't know if you can see that or not. I have decided to do some hand stitching, hand quilting around the house, the rooftop line, and around the doors. So I'm not done entirely yet. That will probably take me 2 to 3 weeks to do, just with an embroidery hoop on my lap. And again, in the evenings, watching TV with the husband. But I thought it would look nice. I finished the mini house quilt, and as you can see, just with my walking foot, I did wavy lines across the top where the blue fabric is. And then I did straight lines, straight vertical and horizontal lines where the houses are. And I went back and hand quilted the roofs and the doors, just with an embroidery hoop. I'm getting ready to send this away. It's a belated Christmas present but I'm calling it a Valentine's present. This one's headed to Idaho. I'm happy with the way it turned out. There are a lot of imperfections, but you probably wouldn't know them. Probably wouldn't care or wouldn't know it unless I told you. But on quite a few of them, I had to cut off the tops of the roofs. Quite a few of them, the roof points at the bottom are cut off. Is it perfect? No, but it's cute and it's finished. I saw this quilt on somebody's Etsy shop, and when I saw it, I knew I had to make one like it. And I think that it turned out really well. So thank you for joining me as I made the mini house quilt. Goodbye.